Hi everybody, my name is Jessica and this is my channel Plant Hooker, and today we're going to talk about my rattlesnake plant, or Calathea lancifolia, or Geopertia insignis. Yeah, so part of the Calathea family, and they have changed, their names have changed many times over the years. I always knew them as Calathea, but now the new name of them is Geopertias, and I hope I'm saying that name correctly. Now, I've had this plant since about 1.5 years. I purchased it from, sorry, that's Angus being his overprotective self. He's done, because the weather right now is very stormy, so cars are going by very slowly, and because they go by very slowly, he's like, no, you can't do that slowly. This is my territory. So he has to establish his dominance, because even though he's neutered, he still thinks he's an alpha. Yeah. Well, his breeding is Great Pyrenees and Newfoundland, and GPs are very territorial and protective, so that's where that comes from. But anyways, back to the plant at hand. Rattlesnake plants are native to Brazil, especially around the Rio de Janeiro area. That's where the majority of them have been found. Beautiful plant. Like, the leaves are absolutely exquisite. And again, like I said, I've had him for 1.5 years. I've up-potted him twice since then. I had purchased him from a large chain grocery store that's located here on the island called Sobeys. And they're found throughout the Atlantic Canada, and I think Ontario too. I'm not sure if they go further out west. But, and one thing I can disprove, you can have a wood stove and Calatheas. You just have to keep on top of them more. And one thing I find with Calatheas, all the Calatheas that I currently own, the ones that I've bought from big box stores, have no trouble with the wood stove. All the ones that I've purchased, like online and like from big fancy flower shops, like the Calathea medallion, a Dottie, and not the Beauty Star, but the White Star, I believe, because I have a Beauty Star and I had the White Star, and I had purchased those online, and they didn't survive at all. They did not like the winters here. They did not like my house. But if you buy from big box stores, you do have a higher chance of your plant surviving, mostly because in these stores, unless the person that's taking care of them is an absolute plant fanatic, they ain't going to be taken care of very well, and they are going to be just surviving. So your house will be paradise to them, because there are a few plants that I've gotten, especially from Walmart, that were like on the edge of dying and whatnot, and I brought them back to really nice plants. Now, rattlesnake plants can get to be about anywhere between 10 inches to as big as 40 inches wide and tall, so like 3.5 feet. So this guy is he was just under 10 inches when I got him, and he's at about, I don't know, I kind of wish I had my measuring tape here now. He's about a foot and a bit tall too, so he's made some progress. Now, Calatheas are sensitive to like lime in water and hard water, and so if you have a softener system or even chlorine in your water, these guys don't like it. And the only reason why mine had survived so long was because, again, the big box store, he was used to being ignored. But you'll notice that the edges will get crispy and yucky, like that. and then they'll like fall off and whatnot. So I had been getting water from an acquaintance of mine because they had a spring, like their water was coming from a spring. And I noticed that a lot of the brown spots had started to leave and whatnot. And I didn't want to bother this person anymore, so I went and I bought my plants their own filtration system. So if you have a Brita fountain, like the pitcher just lying around, that top part that you put the filter in, just take that, and you can reuse those containers that you use for, like the plastic containers for kitty litter. Clean them out really good so then there's no more kitty litter left in them, and just keep filling them up with the filtered water and set it aside. And my plants have been loving it. They love that spring water and they love this filtered water, because this is the newest leaf, this guy right here, and he, no blemishes, no nothing, he's absolutely perfect and I love it. These guys are also pest magnets for like thrips, mealybugs, and spider mites. I've never had to deal with spider mites with this guy or mealybugs, but thrips, yes. Bane of my existence. And I know there's a leaf here that's has quite a significant amount of thrips damage to it. Now it's hard to see the thrips damage on the green part, but if you look on the back, like the reddish purple leaves, I think you can see him. You might be able to see the damage from there. Like all those spots where it's like not that purpley, that's thrips. Yeah, so that's one indication to tell that you have thrips. And I've been battling thrips with this guy since the spring of, well, last year pretty much. And I've won. I'm battling it. I very rarely find thrips nowadays. I still like spray for the just in case, because I'd rather, you know, stay on top of it, because there's new plants coming in and out every so often here. Like my latest new plant that is one I rescued from my local co-op. It's one of those miniature rose bushes that was like on the verge of death, and I think because they were overwatering it. So it's starting to come back, and once it starts to make flowers and whatnot, then I'll do a video on it once I can get it rehabilitated. So again, now him, when I do water him, I'll water him between every 11 and 22 days. Now the reason like 22 days is this is an 8-inch pot. And of course, the bigger the pot, the less intervals of water that they need. Now, because I have the wood stove, I'm watering more so towards the 11 days. Because I have my moisture meter, I'll put it in every few days. And once the level on the moisture meter reaches a 4, then she needs watering. Any more, don't bother. If it's below that, then you are underwatering your plant and you will need to like stay on top of it more. And these guys, it's easier to tell when you're underwatering them than it is overwatering, because they'll sag and droop. Like this leaf, it won't be like, see how alert that is? It won't be like that at all. It'll be like really droopy and way down here. And you can overwater these guys because they prefer to be moist more so than dry. One way to tell when you're overwatering them, it's not like peperonia. Peperonia will have black spots. Calatheas will develop these gray spots when you're overwatering, and that's an indication of like mold and other nasty things that the plant doesn't like. So with plants that love to be moist, you do have to pay attention to how much water you're giving them at a time, because you can overwater them, and we don't want to kill our plants accidentally. We kill them with love, but we don't want to do that. Now, fertilizers, I use the all-purpose fertilizer with this guy. You can use the fertilizer that's strictly for green plants. They do flower, but I wouldn't suggest using the flowering kind because they don't like it. They don't like it. And I've never seen these guys flower, even though I've heard that they can. Like, mine has never flowered, and you don't seem to see too many. I spilled water from this guy. So you don't seem to be able to see too many pictures of these guys flowering, though they can. Part sun, part shade. The window that this guy seems to like the most, that I've placed him in around my house, is my west-facing windows. Didn't seem to care for, like, the south was too much for it. East and north either was too much or not enough for it. West, loves west, perfectly happy in a west-facing window. He does have a grow light, but he's quite far from it. And it's a good 7-8 feet, because I can see it from where I'm sitting. And that grow light is mostly for my weeping fig to keep him happy for during the wintertime. So he does get like a tiny little bit of light from a grow light, and he seems to be quite happy with it. But here in Canada, unless you live in a zone that's 10A or more, you can't have these guys outside. They're only happy in my area July and August, because the ideal temperatures for these guys are between 18 and 25, which is also with a wood stove. It does sometimes get warmer in here. So during the wintertime, I will miss this guy every 2 days. And seems to be okay with it. Seems to do all right. Hasn't pitched a fit at me. Still likes it, loves me. We're okay. What else? When it comes to potting soil, I guess, I use the all-purpose for this guy, but I do put a little extra perlite in it. They give him a little extra drainage. He seems to like that. I'm not sure if other substrates you can use. I've always seen all-purpose. Quite possibly you could use tropical, because there are other calatheas that do like the tropical, but I'm not sure if the rattlesnake is one of them. And the bonus to this guy, and all calatheas and Schippershas, they are non-toxic cats. These are everybody's cat lovers' favorite plants, if you can make them happy and have them live in your house. Because my cat, who is on the suicidal side, she don't look at these guys. She don't touch these guys. Even when I have cat grass, she doesn't touch it. So, a wonderful plant to have. I do clean his leaves, because I know some people don't do it too much with their calatheas, but because I have a lot of cats and a big fluffy dog, I'll clean his leaves every 3 months with my Norwex cloth, and I'll go over them, both the top and the underside, to check for pests. But then again, I check for pests every time I water this guy, because thrips. Now the pot that it's in, I know it looks like it's a wood pot, but it's not. This is actually a plastic pot. And this pot was originally my mama's, or my grandmother's. My mama is what we call our Acadian grandmothers. And I remember her having this pot, and because I get my plantiness from her, because she's the one that taught me all about plants. And then she gave it to my mom, and then my mom gave it to me. So this pot is quite possibly as old as I am. So the plastic probably has BPA in it. Because my mom had given me this pot for my Norfolk pine, and my Norfolk pine was in this pot until it outgrew it, and now it's in a bigger pot. And that's the plow going by because it's very stormy here right now. And I had this sitting in the closet because I didn't have any plants that needed an 8-inch pot for the moment. And then the 7-inch pot that this guy was in, I broke it because it was one of those self-watering pots. So you take it out and then you clean out all the algae and change the water. And I broke it while cleaning it. And she did have roots coming out anyways, so I figured put her an 8-inch, and she's been happy ever since. Yeah, no, this, like I said, a lot of people will complain about calatheas being hard to grow, and I get it, because the ones that I bought from like high-end flower shops and online, like they all crapped the bed on me. But all the ones that I bought from like big box stores, like the Rattlesnake, the Peacock, the Beauty Star, the Never Never plant, like they've been thriving in my home. And I almost got an arborfolia too one day, but then I could see like these little worms crawling on it, and I was like, no, I couldn't take the chance. It was summertime, and I could stick it in my barn, like spray it, let it acclimate, and like, you know, make sure no pests get on it, then maybe. But it was winter time, and I was like, no, I don't have a room ready for like keeping it away from plants, because I try to keep all plants in my windows except for my boys' room. I could probably use my boys' room because both of my boys are going through a stage where they like to kill plants now. So both of them don't have plants in their room, even though one room has a south-facing window, and it gets such excellent humidity and such awesome light that I wish I could put plants in it. Oh, and Ziva's making an appearance. So if you like this video, give it a like. Any questions, ask down below. If not, live long, plant on.